Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corine. I'm filling in for Roger. I know he'll be back. He'll be back on the EPI show, I promise. But I had the Millions March Against Mandatory Vaccines, like committee, founders, people that are for your rights. They're not against vaccines, but you have that choice. So I'm gonna bring these ladies on the show and we're gonna talk about what they're doing. Ladies, tell me why you began this organization.
Mary Ellen, you wanna start us off?
Thank you, Mary Ellen.
It actually started from my own personal Facebook memories of the Millions March Against Monsanto that took place back in 2013.
Okay.
And this May, when those memories started popping up, I began to dwell on how we could implement that into our movement because of the things that were taking place in California and New York, where exemptions were being taken away and being removed from people. And I just felt it was our basic human right to decide what people are injected with and what not. Those are our freedoms. And an opportunity came up, or a topic came up, I should say, in a chat group that Allie French formed.
Okay.
And we started talking, we started, tossing out ideas and so on and so forth. There was another vision for the group. I mentioned what I had been thinking about, the memories from the Millions March Against Monsanto. And this is what we went with. It made sense because look at the state of Monsanto from just 6 short years ago. And what Monsanto is currently dealing with, because people got out there, they were able to raise awareness peacefully. And like I said, 6 years later, look what Monsanto is dealing with right now. So if we can have a similar impact for the freedoms, the medical freedom movement, it would be significant to be able to preserve these, our basic human rights. And what a lot of people don't understand is that roughly 100 years ago, people united for this exact cause, to halt the agenda of mandatory vaccination. So that's the only reason why we even have the freedoms that we have right now. So this responsibility falls upon us, so we can preserve these freedoms for future generations. And so this is where it came from. And Allie and Maggie and the other co-founders, they were equally passionate. This isn't a one-man show. It might have been, the idea might have came from my Facebook memory, but this would not be happening without Allie and Maggie and, our other co-founders of the group. I mean, they are tremendous powerhouses, very knowledgeable, passionate, and I can't stress this enough. We're equally have ownership within the group, and we're all passionate, and the nearly 20,000 team members that we brought on board, it wouldn't be happening without them. I mean, they are making this happen. They are coming from behind their computer screens, their phone screens. They're coming out of their comfort zones because they realize what's at stake as well. And so this is absolutely uniting us. And Allie can talk more about, the other portion as far as how we're not just anti-vaccine. I'll let her take that part.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. And I can't stress that enough to the audience. And this is what makes them so unique in my view, and I think in your view, guys, is that it's not against vaccines. They don't believe in violence. They make it clear on their website what they are about. And so can you talk more about how you're not against vaccines, and it's about rights, like you said?
Yeah, definitely. So what's really important to us is that people recognize that this group is neither for nor against. What we are about is the right to choose. While many people agree with the current CDC schedule, however, many aren't aware that there are now 72 doses on that vaccine schedule. But the fact of the matter is that that stands to change at any time in the future. There are 271, if not more, vaccines in the pipeline. They even recently just approved the chlamydia vaccine. Well, who are we to say that they might decide a week from now, a year from now, that they're going to mandate that on 9-year-olds or 13-year-olds? And if mandates are pushed through, you no longer have the choice to say, I'm sorry, my 9-year-old or my 13-year-old doesn't need a chlamydia vaccine. And it just, there's room for it to go anywhere and everywhere. When we give up our right to choose, we no longer get a say in the future. And even if we agree with it today, we might not tomorrow, we might not 10 years from now. And so we cannot let our freedoms go and then have to actively fight for them to come back. It's much more effective to oppose in the first place rather than have to fight for them to come back. So, you know, it is just very important to us that we don't lose that freedom, whether you are for vaccines or against vaccines. That choice is important. We are dealing with manufacturers that have no liability. How can they stand to mandate a product that the manufacturer has no liability? We also have to remember that these manufacturers are all convicted felons. They have all been proven guilty of fraud, whether it's bribery of doctors, falsifying data, just blatantly removing data that doesn't go along with the agenda that they are trying to push. So what we are trying to do, this isn't about the science of vaccines. This isn't about whether I agree with aluminum being in vaccines or whether I agree with any of the other ingredients in them or not. This is about the fact that they are trying to push mandates through on a product that there is no liability, that there is no, where they are convicted felons, and the fact that the CDC schedule continues to grow and giving up those rights allows it to continue to grow without our approval, without our input on whether we want that or not. And so it is just very important to us that we raise that awareness, because so much of the public is not aware. No. So much of the public is not, they aren't aware of the fact that that schedule is currently at 72 doses. You might opt out of the flu shot right now, but if it's mandates go through, you no longer get to opt out of that flu shot. You may opt out of the HPV. That if mandates go through, you no longer have that choice. In fact, in several states, they are actively working to mandate the HPV vaccine for school. Yes. They should not have that choice. They are taking religious exemptions away from people. We are a country built on the freedom from religion. Yeah. Our government does not get to decide where our religion ends and begins. And if our religion is vehemently opposed to vaccinations for whatever reason, even if it's just as basic as being against modern medicine, they should have the right, the choice to decide to not take those shots or to take them. But the government has no business deciding where a person's religious rights begin and end.
And we can see this in our country, and this is even not about, it doesn't even politics aside, like you said, it's our fundamental rights. Right. As Americans, that's why people come here, so they can have that freedom. I gotta ask you, and honestly, are you getting any support from any of our elected officials, or is anyone kind of going like, you know what, these girls are right, these women have a point here?
Not yet, and the reason why I think that might have to do with is that we're fairly new. You have to understand that we just started this group June 16th of this year, and within, we grew exponentially. I
know, I see your numbers. I'm like, 20,000 already signed up to Facebook, right?
Yes. Yep. So I think the growth will eventually happen. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, touch on what Allie had said, is that we don't understand why it's so easy that people will accept that pills can be recalled, pills can be dangerous, that's accepted. And these same manufacturers that have been sued and found guilty of conviction and fraud for falsifying data when it came to the pills that they
Yeah,
manufactured.
look at Johnson and Johnson.
Yes.
That's an example. Yeah.
Merck, yes, Merck was the maker of Vioxx, and I don't know if you're aware of the Vioxx scandal, but look into it if you're not, because it's astounding what took place and what they were found guilty of, and how much they knew as far as people being injured. And then you also have to understand that Merck is the maker of the MMR vaccine as well as the Gardasil vaccine. And a lot of people don't know that the MMR vaccine is in a whistleblower lawsuit right now. Merck's own people, this lawsuit, I believe, has been going on.
I believe 2 years now.
No, it's longer than 2 years.
We're
It's been
talking a
pushed
different
back.
one then. Yeah.
It's the whistleblower lawsuit for the MMR vaccine, and I think that it started in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back further and further. So it's important to understand that the same exact manufacturer that was already found guilty of fraud, corruption, and how they handled the Vioxx, their pills with the Vioxx that were harming and killing people, are the same exact people that are making these vaccines. So we want to stress that as well and raise the awareness on that as well. Because it's, the analogy is, if that was a restaurant, if a restaurant was serving two different types of meals, and the one meal at that restaurant was harming and killing people and they were sued for it, would you continue to buy food from that restaurant and feel pressured and have to give it to your kids? So it's that analogy. You wouldn't do that with any other product. It should not be allowed to be, that way when it comes to vaccines. It just shouldn't. If there is a risk, there has to be a choice, period. There has to be. It falls upon us to make that as parents and for our own bodies. Again, it's our basic human right.
No, I agree. And, we just mentioned, the response has been phenomenal. When I looked at how many people have signed up, I just with thousands.
Yes. Well, and I just want to touch up on that. The amazing thing about that is that, these people are already here. Across the country, there are groups and coalitions where these people are at, and simply telling them, hey guys, let's all get out on the same day. Let's go raise awareness. Too much of the public isn't aware. Let's do this. And people came flooding into the gates because this is what the people want. We recognize the fact that not enough people know. And in order to make a difference, whether it's in legislation or whether it's just in our own local communities with our public schools and whatnot, it is important that the public is aware. And that is why we had people flooding in. And it was very helpful that all of our admins, I have 5,000 Facebook friends. So, and a vast majority of them are already amongst my community. So, just letting these people know, we suddenly had, I think it was about 9,000 people just in the first week flooding into our group. And it helped that, we're able to just sit there and say, 3,500 people on my friends list, invite all, because
why not?
Why not? We accept everybody, and it was crazy. Let me tell you, this first week, and Maggie can even attest to this, we were up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I personally, and Maggie too, would work until 3 o'clock in the morning, vetting each and every one of these people. Now, if I knew it was my mutual friend, I knew they were okay, because I vet my own friends as I add them. Yeah. But, this was a long and hard process, and I know Roger has mentioned it. When you jump into this, it becomes your life. You eat and sleep this. It becomes the most important thing, and we have just poured ourselves into this. Hey, Maggie, would you mind going over kind of what our vetting process was, how it was that we came up with as many people as we did?
So when somebody requests to join the group, they're automatically prompted to answer the group questions.
Okay.
Have to agree to the rules. If they answer the questions, we are able to go into their profiles. We can see, the groups that they're in that are outside of the Millions March group. If their profiles are open, we can see their friends and some comments. You know, we can go through and get a good idea of who these people are. And aside from that, if you're not answering the group questions, then we cannot accept you, because if we do, you'll end up in what's called a preview mode. And a preview mode puts you're able to see everything inside of the group. So you can see, you know, the members' posts, you can read all of the comments, you can see everything, you just cannot engage in them. So we try to keep that section clean. We did have, I think it was about 2 or 3 days in the beginning of starting where we weren't aware of this preview section. But once we became aware of it, we handled it and took care of it. So we try to keep the people out of there so that the members that are within the group that have, you know, answered the questions and we've gone through and vetted their profiles, we're keeping them safe. Not, you know, just allowing anybody to see everything that's inside the group. Because my biggest thing is that there could be people in there who have like family members that, you know, disagree with their stances or, you know, see them differently for their stances. And it should be a safe place for those people to go and, you know, find people who agree with how they feel about everything. And if we're just letting anybody see what's inside the group, that's not really a safe place anymore. So we try to make it a point to make sure that we're going through everybody one by one.
Wow.
And I mean, it's slowed down, but definitely in the beginning, it was really rough. I mean, we ended up having to bring other people on that we trusted that could help us with all of the requests because there were so many.
There was. And you know, the crazy part is ultimately we actually declined more people than we approved. I think in the beginning, I think we declined at least twice as many as we approved. So while we might have been up to nearly 10,000 in that first week, I'm pretty sure we declined something around 17,000 from joining the group. Just purely because we sat there and vetted every single one. And we were trying to make sure, like Maggie said, that this environment is safe for everybody. I mean, I'm not going to lie. While we are a group about choice, there is still a great number of people who view us as only anti-vax, and they, you know, aren't able to understand that this is purely about mandates. And it leaves us open to, I guess you could just label it as childishness. You know, they aren't ready to accept that this isn't, we aren't trying to take anything away from you. We aren't saying that vaccinating is bad at this point in time. What we are saying is that mandates are bad, that they don't have a place in our country. And just being able to keep our group safe from those that don't quite understand that haven't yet listened to our message, and instead want to be on the attack as if we're just an anti-vax group. So it's, you know, that's why it's so important that we vet our members, because we don't want to leave them open to somebody who hasn't listened to the message that we're trying to deliver.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
No,
I was going to say, just to touch a little bit more on safety, we have reiterated our group requirements numerous times, and we absolutely require all participants to be peaceful, respectful, law-abiding at all times. And we do not condone violence or threats or abuse on any level of or any sort, whether it's physical, verbal, or even cyber. And if we find out that a member is doing something, it is immediate termination from our group. We will not tolerate anything other than peaceful, respectful, raising awareness in that manner. Nothing else less than that is tolerated.
Right.
Getting any pushback from your social media channels, because a lot of people are having a lot of, you know, people of the, you know, religious and politics are getting banned from like YouTube or having a lot of issues with Facebook. Are you guys right now, you know, is it safe waters, so to speak?
Do you mean, are we experiencing some sort of
Something
censorship?
like, basically,
Personally, for my Facebook page, I do not see posts from our actual Facebook page for the group. I see those for days after they are posted. Half the time I have to actually go into the group page just to be able to see some of the posts. And it's the same way for like Allie's profile and Mary Ellen's profile.
Right.
Feel free to be asking, like when we make posts, we're in our group chat asking if post, because nobody is saying anything to it. So can you guys go check and make sure it posted? So
Right.
censoring going on. And Mary Ellen, if you want to touch on the website and what's going on with the website not pulling up for Google when you search it certain different ways, if you want to touch on that.
Well, I actually, when I bought the website, when the website was purchased, we paid extra money for us to have that option to be more searchable on Google. And when I talked to, we purchased it from GoDaddy, and GoDaddy told us that it may take up to 30 days from the day that we launched. Now, we actually bought the domain, I believe it was June 26th. It was 10 days after we formed the group, but we did not launch our website until, I'm not certain of the date, but wasn't it like late July, Allie?
Something like that. It was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So it hasn't hit that 30-day mark. And I know that was a concern where supposedly Google has been purchased by a pharmaceutical company. There's a rumor or something along those lines. I'm not really certain what it is, but somehow has ties or funds, supposedly. Please don't quote me on this. I haven't looked into it, but that they have some type of affiliation with a pharmaceutical company. So there was, hesitation of why that our group was being found on Google or something along those lines. There was quite a few rumors out there, but basically we're just doing our best to squash rumors and maintain, the integrity of our group by being honest and staying focused on what our mission is. And that's all we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me. We all have to do our own research. I always encourage people, readers and viewers to do their own research. But with Google and everything going on with Congress and the censorship, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, everyone do your research, and you're hitting the nail on the head about making sure you're up front and you squash any rumors and so forth ahead of time as your organization is growing exponentially. And I really want to bring up the event. Can you talk to me about the event this weekend?
Oh, it's going to be exciting. Oh, we can't wait. So on August 31st, we are going to be out, and the time of day varies depending on location. For me in Omaha, we'll be out at 9 o'clock in the morning, but in other locations, I believe Chicago is going to be out there at noon, for instance.
All right.
So 10 o'clock, sorry. So it definitely varies, but this is an all-day event. This is something that you can do whether you are out there by yourself or in a group of 100 or a group of 10, whatever it may be. What we are doing, and the big plan, is to have material with readily and easily verifiable facts about why mandates are unconstitutional, about why they are wrong. So we have, and they're on our website as well, a trifold pamphlet, a handout, and we also have them all translated to Spanish so that we can pass them out to as many people as possible and simply raise awareness. Some events they have set up to be more formal, and they will have speakers and they will march from one location to another. Some locations, as at mine, we're just meeting up at a park and going for a walk. We are just going for a walk through the downtown area and are going to pass out information to only those who are interested, to only those who want to stand there and talk to us or accept our pamphlet or flyer. We're not pushing this on anybody. It is simply, it's a voluntary thing. Right. That participation is to whomever wants it, however they want it, as long as we remain respectful and peaceful and law-abiding. So it's really amazing because this event, our movement, is completely tailored. You can tailor it to whatever location, however works best for them in order to raise that awareness. Like I said, I know in Washington, they have a few events set up where people are all congregating. They're going to have a few speakers. They're going to march from one location to another. That event doesn't necessarily work for, let's say West Virginia, where they don't want to be so big and flashy. They just want to be able to raise awareness and gain that public backing when it comes time for the legislative season to roll around.
Right.
So it's really, really important that people understand that this is a completely voluntary event, that people can do this by themselves, just by, handing out information throughout the day. They can leave information cards scattered throughout their grocery store, so when people go pick up their package of diapers, they're also picking up their information. And it's really just however people deem fit, as long as, and again, we sound like broken records, as long as people are respectful and peaceful and law abiding. And that's really, all it is just raising awareness to the public, however people deem fit for their location, which is really, I think, amazing. It makes it so that more people can participate. They don't have to travel to the Capitol in the middle of their state. They don't have to drive 4 hours. They don't have to spend any money. If they want to get an MMAMV shirt, they are more than welcome to. If they don't have to. It is whatever works for you on the day. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with 10 people. You can do it with 100 people, whatever works for them.
Now, how many cities will you be in?
Well, each of the co-founders will be in their own location. And last I checked, we have somewhere between 70 and 90 events.
Wow.
Now again, we aren't controlling anybody. These events are the responsibility of the people attending them. So the people in Washington that have their event set up has been done solely by Washington residents. Since we don't have a co-founding or an admin from Washington in our main group, we have very little information. We know that they're doing very well. We know that they have a great event going, that they are super excited. We know that they're all going to be peaceful, respectful, and law-abiding.
Right.
But these events are really just the sole responsibility of the people that are actually attending. And that's what's really amazing, is just that we've provided people with an opportunity to take this into their own hands and make a difference. We only provide guidelines. We provide people with ideas. If they need constructive criticism or more information, we are here to provide them. If they need help picking a location, we are more than willing and helpful, able to help them pick a location. But we aren't here to dictate anybody's events. They are as whatever they want them to be, as long as people continue to be peaceful, respectful, and law-abiding.
Well, and that's the beauty of protest and marching and, getting the word out, is that freedom of speech.
Yes.
And that's why we love our country. And
Right.
that's, I think, your main vein is,
Yes.
and it's something that we often forget and take for granted. So finally, would you like to add anything else and to let people know? Is there anything else on your heart that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I personally would like to add that when Mary Ellen brought the idea of this march to us, I was very excited because I'm a young mom. I'm 28. I'm a mom of 2. I've been with my fiance for 10 years. So we say that we're married, but we're not legally married. But basically we are. But, I'm a mom of 2. I'm young. We're not financially set, completely grown adults. So to be able to have a spot in our own areas that, we're able to get out and still stand up for our children's rights, that is what is most important to me. In that retrospect, we don't have the capability of traveling all the way to, say, Washington or, going down to Florida all the time to go to certain events. So to be able to have something that's here at home that we can attend and we can still feel like we're doing something for our children and your children and everybody else's children in the world. It's just an amazing thing to be a part of. And I mean, like they both have said, we couldn't do it without all of the members, and especially without the admin team. They're wonderful, and it wouldn't go anywhere without the team that we have. We all work very, very well together.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And one of the things that I just wanted to touch on, as far as what Allie was saying, one person can participate on their own. And some of the ideas that people, our members, have come up with, they just by either wearing a shirt and downloading the pamphlets and the information from our website and placing it as they go about their day. Some members have the window paint for their vehicles, and they have written, messages on their windows to raise awareness as, if they're out there driving, if they cannot make it to an event due to work scheduling or something like that. And another idea that a member had, which we all thought was great, was changing the light bulb on your porch light to yellow to help raise awareness for, medical freedom and to help the agenda of mandatory vaccination. And so those are just other ideas. No one is required. It's completely voluntary, like Allie said, but it's just the fact of empowering basic everyday people that have never been able to make it to the big marches, that either financially they cannot do it or due to restricted schedules with work or something along those lines. But we empowered people. We gave them a date and said, hey, we're your team. You have, nearly 20,000 other team members, and this is what we're going to be doing on this day. Please come join us. And so it was very well received. And we're excited. We're pretty excited. We look forward to it.
I know I said finally, but I have one more question. Are there other events that may be coming up in the year that we can also get some insight on that you'll be launching? Or this will be for, like, this big event will be for this year, and then you're going to do something else next year? Is there something else that needs to be on everybody's radar?
That's what we've talked about. It's going on right now. But Allie, if you want to go, it's something that we've been talking behind the scenes about. But go ahead, Allie.
Okay. We have all hopes that we will do more in the future. We have talked about becoming a nonprofit and really helping others, those who have vaccine injuries, those who need more information. We want to be able to reach more people. We have all expectations for the 31st to go off without a hitch. And, God willing, we will have more and more events in the future to come. Really, the sky is the limit here. And as long as people are interested, and as long as Marielle and Maggie and all the rest of the admin team are in this, we will continue to do everything we can to have future events. No, we don't have anything set in stone. I don't have a date for you to look forward, but I sure hope that you all are sitting on the edge of your seat, excited for something to come up, because one of these days we are going to have a big announcement for you guys, and we can't wait.
I can't wait. Can I get a hint? All right, okay, you guys gotta stay tuned. Okay. I just, thank you ladies so much. I mean, your energy is infectious. You're encouraging, you're enthusiastic. And, we need more people like you in our politics, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, fighting for, us women, as parents, and as Americans. So I am just talking to you. I'm like, well, these girls are awesome. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I really mean it. And, let us know if we could do anything else for you. And, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss these ladies. They are going to be back on this show. They are going to be making a big splash in America. Watch out.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.